Hello, everyone. This is the Megalo Box episode 12 discussion with Jeff, Torie, and Coby.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, so let's get into it. Coby, what happened in this episode?
Well, okay, I'll try to give a brief 30-second recap, and it's actually pretty simple. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Ready.
And go. Yuuri trains to fight, and then that's like his story, and then that's it. And then, no. Oh, God, no. Gearless Joe trains to fight. That's who it is. And trains, and then that's it. But then Yuuri gets a much more interesting storyline where he removes his gear to fight Gearless Joe and then goes through horrible, horrible pain in order to come out on top and stronger, and now they're poised to fight each other in the final episode.
That was a very well done and succinct 30-second summary of the episode.
That's
Good job.
It's all really what happens.
It is. In terms of what's good, I guess... I don't know. This is kind of a meh episode for me. Kind of setup-y, honestly.
You know what? For a setup episode, I actually really liked it.
Why did you like it?
Because it had, even though it was setting up for this fight, we got to see both of our main characters in different lights with foreshadows and Yuuri going through all this pain.
I guess there were some flashbacks, too.
Yeah, some flashbacks, some emotional input in all of these. So I thought it was all nice.
I liked it.
What was the emotional input?
With Yuuri going through this pain and, Nanbu looking back and seeing how far they've gone
Oh,
through.
yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, that was sweet, I guess, but I'm just going to say I would have much preferred if this was a total Yuuri episode. I thought Gearless Joe's storylines didn't really add much to anything, and I would have much rather preferred to see all of Yuri's backstory explored.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess it would have been nicer to see a flashback where they first get the gear installed, I guess. Maybe see the first iteration of the fully integrated gear. Or if that is the only iteration, I don't even know.
Yeah, because this is a chance to dive into your antagonist, or who's not really even an antagonist, because you find out he's actually a very human individual. But then, it's torn away by watching Joe fight Aragaki, who is cool. It was cool to see again, but I don't know. I would prefer to see more of Yuuri.
Yeah, there's some cameos in this episode. There was also Shirato Bro. He popped up.
So random.
Yeah,
I did not recognize him at first.
We didn't. We thought it was his gay lover.
I thought so too. I thought the exact same thing.
His gay lover in the woods.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, he's going home. I'm like, this is cool, sweet, awesome, all for it.
Yeah,
because they shared that look when he walked in, like, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's so it was weird because the dog, it's supposed to symbolize, I guess, Yuri's emotions, and the dog just kind of glanced at Shirotoburo and then walked right in. It's felt right at home. Whereas before, he was growling at him and stuff because they were intense rivals, but now they're accomplices, and I guess Shirotoburo is totally cool with just dismantling his gear from him. He retired, right? Is that the idea?
I guess.
Retired in the cabin in the woods?
Yeah, he just went away, and then I guess, and my favorite line was just when Mikio, which I guess is his name, Mikio, was like, I got what you asked, and then it goes to his torture chamber down below, his surgery table. I was just like, how did that conversation go? I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was a professional Megalo boxer. No way did I ever think that he would be capable of performing this horrific surgery. And I know he helped build the gear, but I don't think he did the medical procedure to put it together.
I don't think he did. He just fuck it, I'll just cut it out.
Just cut it out.
Along with large chunks of his flesh. That should be fine.
I like how they showed the surgery of just one small laser cut, and then it cut away.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is he's bleeding everywhere, and he's bandaged all the way. Oh, guess there was more than that.
Yeah, he had horrific flashbacks of his eyeballs burning.
Yeah, he felt his whole body was on fire, and that was a horrifying image. And then that made me all the more sad that the scene was parallel to Joe just training in a fun time with Aragaki. This is fun.
He's taking a swim in the river.
Yeah, and Joe's talking, but he's Nanbu is talking over him, so you can't even hear what he's talking about. It's it's not even about Joe anymore, even if it was.
Joe who? Who's Joe? I don't even know who Joe is.
Yeah.
Joe, to me, is still a boring character, protagonist, and I think I think that Yuuri is more interesting, but I don't even think the writer knows that.
Yeah.
I think if the writer actually knew like exactly what this character was about, other than trying to beat Joe, it would have gone in the direction that you suggested, Coby. They probably would have been more dedication into him and his backstory. I think like he's a prominent character in the story, but we don't really learn more about him. And I think the show would have been a lot better if they balanced it out more, kind of like what they did with this episode. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you have just a Yuuri episode. Maybe you have a Yuuri episode with him and his fights and stuff,
That
and his more of his relationship with Shirto.
that
Yukio.
Yeah,
Keep going.
that would have been great because you know me. Because it's like if a show is bad, I'm fine with the show being bad as long as it knows it's bad. Like I can forgive that. But what I cannot forgive is when it has potential and then it fails. Like there's so many cool stuff that it could have done and doesn't follow through. Like watching this episode made me sad that we didn't have enough time devoted to Yuuri beforehand. And even in this episode that's supposed to be like Yuri's kind of episode, we still don't get enough time for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think overall the series was very hyped up in the beginning because the style was awesome, the genre was awesome, but as the series dragged on, it felt like it was running out of cool things to show us. Like I think it peaked maybe around like the halfway point, and then since then it's been kind of predictable and not as entertaining as it should have or could have been.
Yeah.
But you know what? We still have one more episode left. And we had a format, but I think we kind of wavered between it. But I'm interested to hear what your guys' predictions are, if you don't mind moving into that.
Oh, well, I just want to talk a little bit more about this episode.
Oh, okay then.
One thing I wanted to mention is why is Yuuri on the cold ground when he's in pain? Like, why didn't they put him in a bed or like, make him chill a little bit, relax a little bit?
Because he needs to be locked away in a torture chamber to like, because he's
yeah.
Cause he's
Why
crazy.
did he have to be locked as well?
Because he would have punched someone.
Yeah, he would just been punching crazy. He thinks his body's on fire.
Oh yeah, because like the integrated gear was controlling him, but now he has no control. So okay. So,
I don't even know if it's
I'm
that.
just kidding. The other thing, what was it? What did I want to bring up? Something about Yuuri again. So even though Yuuri really wants to be on the same level of Joe, I can't really believe that. Like, why would he go through all of this torture and pain, getting this integrated gear that he basically helped him go to the top, and he's going to make his company a lot of money, his owner that he's been very devoted to. He just threw that all away for some kid.
Not for a kid, for someone who inspires him how to fight. Someone who invokes the same passion. He says in this episode, if you find an opponent that you really want to beat from the bottom of your heart, that's what boxing is. And he's never had that since he's got his gear integrated into him. He's just the best. He's the undefeated king, and he needs a challenge. I'm sure he started off as this young boxer with great potential who was very much like Joe, but then he got sucked into this world of Megalo Box and has this gear implemented on him. And now he lacks any sort of passion in his life because he wins everything. And now that he's met somebody who sparked it in him, of course he wants to meet him on even playing field.
Yeah, that's really well explained. I just wish we saw more of that.
Yeah, exactly.
When you say it like that sounds much better. But I didn't believe it until you just said that right now. I was just like, why is he throwing this all away for some kid that he met in the parking lot?
That's on the show for not being as good as it could have been. Again, with how it handles and treats its characters and their motivations and stuff. I'm sure that these motivations make more sense if you go just another level deeper than what we've seen. I feel like maybe one of the best ways to describe the show so far is like it's shallow. It's shallow. Like it doesn't really go much past like the surface level, I think.
Yeah.
I think the deepest we ever went was with the veteran guy that he boxed.
Yeah, which was a great 2 episodes, which were the 2 best episodes, I think.
It really was, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it kind of shows you that the show is capable of that. But for some reason, maybe it's the time constraint. Maybe if you doubled the length of the episode, say from 13 to 26, maybe it would have been better. Maybe we would have been able to go into the characters more. But at the same time, it's like it runs the risk of maybe overstaying its welcome. Because I don't know. Here's the thing with the show is like as soon as you set up like a mano-a-mano match from the very beginning, like a rivalry, I think it kind of removes some tension from the rest of the series, because it's hard to believe that the protagonist will actually lose when there's a great final battle looming in the distance.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, yeah, maybe if we doubled it, it wouldn't actually fix that issue. It would just introduce. It might fix it, but it might introduce a new issue. But
maybe what it could have done instead, because you're right, when you set up a mono imano from the very beginning, they're gonna make it to the end. Like we all knew that Yuuri and Gearless Joe were gonna be the last two. But maybe they didn't have to focus on the matches so much, because they're very repetitive, the same old, same old. Instead, we can have more episodes of going into their past and both protagonists. And instead of being about Joe, it becomes a show about Yuuri and Joe.
Yeah.
And then then we become more emotionally attached at the very end.
Or how about not even just Yuuri and Joe? Why don't we go more into the other characters? We can go deeper into Shirato herself. We can go more into Sachi. I thought we were going to know more about Sachi, but his whole motivation was sort of written off in like a single line.
Yeah, if Sachio disappeared from the series, I don't think I would realize he was gone.
He did have another rap scene.
Yeah, I was like, okay, fine. He's rapping again. I guess that's his thing.
I kind of like that one more because it's kind of ambiguous if it was actually him or not. It could just be background music to the montage. It didn't actually show him singing any lyrics.
Yeah, I liked it too.
It might just be, like a post-show album that he released or something, and they kind of like
it also rhymed again in English and in Japanese. I listened this time.
Ah, good. See, I'm glad it's opening your ears.
Well, I read in English and I listened in Japanese.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's
that's
I mean, maybe to me it rhymed, but if I was speaking Japanese, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. But it was pretty good.
Yeah, but Torie, I agree with you. Because now that you mention it, it's like if it would have developed both of them, this could have been a cool, like, if it followed in the suit of something as epic as Avatar: The Last Airbender, where you have like an Aang and Zuko type character. One's the good guy, one's the bad guy, and then they kind of meet in the middle, they become friends and all that stuff. Or even another anime, Yuuri on Ice has the relationship between the main guy, Yuuri, and Victor in Yuuri on Ice, when they're both these two protagonists starting from different locations and learning from each other to the conclusion. If the show would have done something like that and had these two characters kind of grow together and evolve together, then it would have been a much stronger series.
Well, now you mentioned Yuuri and Ice, I just had to bring up a joke that I've been sitting on this whole fucking podcast. All right? This is going to be terrible now, but okay, we already passed the conversation where it would have been appropriate.
Okay.
But remember when Yuuri was thinking about how he was on fire?
Yeah.
He should have been put on ice.
Ah, Yuuri on Ice. I think that's a great joke. I think that's perfect.
Thank you, Coby.
Yeah, you should have said that like randomly and then give us a moment to think about it. Like, oh.
Yeah, see if we would have caught it or not.
Yeah, next time.
You better create a Yuuri on Ice joke for the finale.
I will.
Oh, when he gets beat up by Joe?
Hey, shut up. That's my joke.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I'm not the funny one on this podcast. Sorry.
Yep, you can't dethrone me.
So there's one other thing I want to bring up before we go to our predictions.
Okay.
Is why Shirato girl, Yokio, was like, basically she's doing the same thing as Yuuri is, throwing away her career and all that she's worked for to allow this fight to
continue on. Shirato is very passive. She is surprisingly, like, she gets run over a lot, essentially. Like, with her wills and her motivations and her wishes, she's the head of this, what I assume to be a giant corporation, in charge of this this prize fight, essentially. Very popular prize fight. And yet these commoners, these illegal citizens, are able to basically wring whatever the fuck they want from her.
Yeah.
And her own employee, Yuuri, can just be like, I'm not going to fight with the gear. It's a final match. And then Shirato's like, I'm going to cancel the match. And I'm like, you're not going to cancel the match, bitch. Nah, you've already thrown your empty threats left, right, and center in the show. You're not going to do shit.
Well, even then, when she's like, I'm going to cancel the match, and then Yuri's like, don't do that. And then she's like, oh, okay. And it's just like, you still can. Like, I'm still going to. But I guess it ties in the theme of the show of just, and it's not very explained well, but it's like if you meet someone who's the real deal, the genuine article, then it inspires you to fight, which was seen briefly in her flashback when she sees Yuuri fighting for the first time. She's really impressed by him. But of course, that's totally at the expense of her character of having her own motivations and desires, and just kind of like as you said, passive, letting things happen to her, which is just she's like, okay, I know I signed this deal with this contract with this company that's going to make us really rich about a gear fighting gear, and now we have two people in the match who aren't fighting gear, but that's fine.
I'm telling you that they're gonna invent a new sport called box, and it's like Megalo Box without the machines on your back.
And then she'll become rich again.
Yes.
That's fine.
So,
But how can you market that? Your own arms?
okay, you have robots, and you strap human arms to their backs, and that's called box.
Oh, I see.
That's the future. Okay, so I just thought of like, what would really wrap this show really like a lot tighter, I think, is like, I think it could use a little bit more parallels, because like basically Nanbu to Joe is what Shirato is to Yuuri, and I really wish we saw more of that. Like, I mean, I guess it's not really exactly a one-to-one relationship because Nanbu's an actual like boxing coach, and I guess Shirato is basically just like the money girl. But it would have been cool if they showed more of the relationship, like, because like I say that Shirato's really passive. Well, the opposite of that is like Nanbu was like very active. He was making moves on behalf of his team, on behalf of himself, since the very beginning of the show. And it would have been cool to see Shirato take that same active role, and then maybe even, I mean, I don't know, maybe outplay Nanbu once in a while instead of being the one playing the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that would have made it more interesting. And then, of course, you get more into the relationship between her and Yuuri, and then it's like, you see, it's a parallel to Nanbu and Joe, and yeah, if they just, I think, took that course more head on, it would make this a very nice and tight show.
Agreed.
There's some loose ends. So yeah.
All right, so I guess we can move into predictions now.
Sure.
How pissed would you guys be if you were going to an event, Megalo Box, as a?
Do you want to say something?
I'm good.
Okay.
If you go in there as a, just as someone who goes to watch the match, and then you see two people not wearing Metal Gear beat each other to death, would you be mad or would you be inspired?
In the context of the show, it seemed like people really like Gearless Joe. So Gearless Joe became really, really popular because he didn't have any gear. All right. Now imagine two people without any gear. Maybe that same person, that same fan, would be like, "Holy shit! I didn't know I wanted this. I thought I wanted, people with machines strapped to their backs, punching the shit out of each other. But what I really wanted was the opposite. Well, not really the opposite. I just wanted that without the machines on the strap of the backs."
Yeah, I think I would be hyped up too. It's just like when an unexpected factor comes, you're like, "Oh my god, look at this!"
Because it's the same thing. They're still punching the shit out of each other. It's just like, I guess it makes it more real.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, they're not assisted by machines at all. Oh, that makes it more cool. I don't know. There's some kind of like thesis statement in this show. I feel like it's trying to push. It's like, you don't need the machine, man.
You don't.
Leave the machine behind.
And even prediction wise, it's hard to make any predictions because there's no stakes. The mobster is gone, so we can't really speculate on that. And it's just the match. It's like, is Gearless Joe gonna win? Yeah, more than likely than not, he's gonna win. But then I don't know how else to predict what else that can happen. It's like, okay, he proves it, but then what? I don't really care.
I have a question. If Yuuri did not take off his integrated gear, do you think he would just win?
Yeah, Yuuri would have beat the shit out of Gearless Joe.
I agree.
No, actually, what would have happened is he would have beat the shit out of Gearless Joe. Gearless Joe would have been on the brink of KOing, and then he'd stand up and then punch Yuuri in the face really hard and win the match.
That's what would have happened. Yeah,
yeah. You're right. I forgot that we had to follow the pattern.
Yeah, so that's probably going to happen again. My other prediction is, like I said, I think last episode, they'll both punch each other at the same time and knock each other out. And that's how it ends.
I hope so.
That'll be kind of a cop-out.
Because that's how one of the Rocky, that's how Rocky 2 ends. Both of them are knocked down by the same punch, and it's like a who stands up first.
I have a better knockoff of that.
Okay.
So they both keep fighting each other, fighting and punching and punching. Basically, the match goes on for like 8 or 9 or 12 rounds. It's just exhausting. And both of them look at each other and just shake each other's hands and walk away.
We're all winners today.
Yeah.
How about another one? It's the same exact one where they're punching each other and, they're getting really worn out. And then they each have like a little speech like, huh, I always wanted to fight against someone like you. The other one's like, huh, same goes to you, buddy. And then they go in for one last punch, and then the show fades out. Fades to black, credits roll. So we don't even know.
So we don't even know.
Don't even know what happens.
All right, here's one more. So they're fighting each other, right? And it's down and out. And Yuuri is going to beat Gearless Joe. But then all of a sudden, Gearless Joe looks to the right, and who does he see but Aragaki jumping into the ring with him with his metal legs. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-on-1 fight. But then all of a sudden, Mikio comes in, and he's on Yuri's side, so it's a 2-on-2 box fest.
Whoa,
and then,
that would be super hyped
And then
up.
it's a full-on brawl.
And then Nanbu jumps in.
And then Shirato lady
whacks them all with a cane.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess. Berates them for their poor boxing form.
I have one last prediction.
Okay.
I was getting these vibes throughout the show a little bit, especially during this episode. But at the very end, instead of one of them punching each other out, they just go in for the major kill, and instead they start making out.
Ooh.
Oh, and that's what you said. No, they can't because
this is the real sequel to Yuuri on Ice.
Yuuri is in love with Mikio, so they can't.
But it could be dramatic.
Oh.
Season 2 setup.
Dude, it'd be great if one of them died. Actually, if one of them like killed the other in the ring, and they died in the ring.
Oh shit!
I'm dead serious. That would make the show that much better. If Joe died,
elevate it,
and then he became a symbol for like. Well, I was about to say a symbol for like fighting without gear, but then that's a bad symbol if you just got all this way and then died.
Bad symbol.
So.
But then if Yuri's not wearing gear, I guess it just becomes murder.
Yeah, he goes to jail after that. The end.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
And then Shiro runs up and stabs Shirato lady for killing her father, because this time she's not petting kids.
All right, I think we've pretty much wrapped up every single which way that the show could possibly end.
I think we have. We have it covered. Yeah, we have it covered for next week. Okay.
Pretty much.
Any final thoughts, guys?
No. What about you, Torie?
I'm just ready to see Joe win next week.
What about you, Coby?
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement. We're gonna look real stupid if he loses, but are we all in agreement that we're pretty sure he's gonna win?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way. It would be really cool if he lost, but there's no way.
But they didn't build it up where that doesn't even seem like a possibility.
Yeah.
Even though Yuuri just literally went through hell in order to fight him.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He should have kept his gear on.
Yeah, he really should have.
I'm just curious to see if he has like major scars or something. I want to see that.
I have a question.
I hope he
when was this match planned? Like, how long does he have to recover from this?
He says he was been screaming in agony and pain for 5 days. So
at least 5 days.
So at least 5 days. So I hope he's not even in top shape when he comes to box. I hope when he comes out, he's just a dead mass on the boxing ring floor because he like can't even fight.
And he's like screaming in agony again.
It's like, I'm on fire. That's it. All right, cool. So I think that about wraps it up.
We did it.
You want to plug us,
we
guys?
made it to the end. I hate plugging things.
What?
Torie, would you like to plug us?
Torie, our marketing manager.
I'm good.
Boo.
Fine,
I do things in the background.
I see. Well, we are Nerd Blaze. We have a bunch of videos out there that you can check out. We do a sports anime podcast called Anime Ricochet, which is available on YouTube along with all other podcasting service sites, where we go in depth about a bunch of sports animes. After this anime is done, we'll probably do one about this because it is a sport. We also have a bunch of other videos on our channel, which you can go check out. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, share, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.